Manhattan School District was established in 1870. There were 8 school districts within the Township of Manhattan. In 1906, Manhattan District 114 purchased a lot for $800 to build a new school. In 1908, a brick grade school was constructed. A second story was added in 1915. In the second story, there were 2 new classrooms, a band room, and a heating plant. This allowed for high school classes to be held within the district. However, high school only consisted of 2 years. For those students who wished to continue with high school, they needed to transfer to Joliet Central High School. In 1955, a gymnasium and stage were added, and in 1964 an addition was completed, which is now our 5th grade hallway. At this time, the original 2-story building was demolished and replaced with a 1-story addition in 1968. Due to increasing enrollment and additional programs, another addition was added to the rear of the building, now our 3rd grade wing.
Third graders, this is WCCJ coming to you live from Channel 108 in Manhattan, Illinois, and we are so honored. We have a very famous Manhattan Anna McDonald School veteran. Marilyn Bobson in the day went to school there, graduating in 1948, then years later came back married as Mrs. Boyles, Marilyn Boyles, and worked 25 years as a secretary at good old Anna McDonald. She is loaded with information. Tell us a little bit about it back then.
Well, there was no kindergarten when I went to school. It was just 1st and 2nd through 8th grade. Miss McDonald was my 1st and 2nd grade teacher.
Anna McDonald?
Yeah, wow. Anna McDonald, she was my teacher. And then when I went on to high school, I had to get the bus and go into Joliet Central every day.
Wow.
And I graduated from there in 1952. But I graduated from Anna McDonald in 1948. We had no cafeteria. We would have to brown bag it if you weren't in walking distance to go home every day. We had no PE. We went out every day and played baseball if the weather permitted. We also had playground equipment. We had a merry-go-round and a maypole and swings, and that was our exercise. The graduating class had 9 in the class, and the next class had only 4. And as far as our clothing, I don't ever remember the girls wearing long pants and that. Sometimes we wore long stockings when it was winter and that to keep warm. We also wore leggings too a lot of times. I mean, ones you took off and hung at the coat room. We had school days were from 9 to 4, but we had an hour off from lunch, and that was because the kids that went home had that much time to get home and eat and get back to school. Out in the library, but I wasn't qualified for it, so I could never have students by myself in there for $1.75 an hour. But then I worked my way up, and that's when I became secretary, and my boys graduated from Anna McDonald in 1972 and 1973.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is WCCJ coming to you live from Channel 108 here in Manhattan. We are back at Anna McDonald School with our beloved Patsy Leadingham, who in 1981, she was a paraprofessional here for 2 years, and then she became a teacher for 26 years, folks. We call her our very own vitamin P. She brings a lot of energy to this school. She's got a lot of history, too. So, Patsy, tell us a little bit about some of the differences. You started in 1981, and then in 1983, you became a teacher. What were the class sizes?
Okay, when I started, there were 2 kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, all the way through 8th grade. But when I started teaching, then I was the 3rd 1st grade teacher.
Wow, so now we have 8 of each class. But when she started, it would be 1983. Holy Moses, there was only 2.
Right.
of each grade level.
And
Now,
they all went to school here.
and it was the one room schoolhouse still. Well, not room, one building schoolhouse still. Were the class sizes, were they similar to what we have now, like 20 in each class, or?
I've had 22 was the least and 33 was the most.
33, I think I lose my mind.
When I was here, we did not have computer class. The teachers had just got Texas Instruments computers in their room, and sometimes the students were allowed to go and do something, like if you had groups or something, that it was their time to be on the computer. When I taught here, there were no locks on the front door. You just walked in, and the office was down the fourth grade hallway where Mrs. Shoppy's class was. Mrs. Boyle was the secretary outside, and Mrs. Long was inside. And the teacher's lounge today used to be a storage room with shelves. As I remember coming into the school, the office was completely different. It was down the fourth grade hallway. And what we have for office now, the superintendent was there, and it could have been a classroom, but the teacher's lounge was in there. And the nurse's office with the sliding door was also for concessions to pay your way into, a basketball game or something like that.
We are again live, ladies and gentlemen, on WCCJ, Channel 108 in Manhattan. And this is another big, exciting moment. Now we're down to our most recent student, who not only went to school here, but now she's a third grade teacher, folks. This is Miss Paige Podgorny. Paige, can you tell us how it all began?
Yes, so it all started when my family decided to move here in Manhattan when I was going into 6th grade. So I had just finished 5th grade at my other school, and the first time we came out here, I'll never forget it. My mom, we were driving, and she said, "Paige, up here, here's your new school." And it was on a gravel road. I couldn't even believe it. I was coming from a school that was not on a gravel road, no cornfields. We were basically in the city. So coming here was a huge adjustment for my family and for my little brother, who was actually going to start school here at Anna McDonald. Started school here at the junior high. Wilson Creek was not built yet. So my school, the junior high, was 6th through 8th, just like it is today. But Anna McDonald was actually the school that you went to for kindergarten through 5th grade. Our class sizes were much smaller. We actually had to build Wilson Creek because of how many new subdivisions were coming in here. The town itself was much smaller. There weren't all these houses that we have today, so we did have a lot less teachers here at the school along with students. So school today is actually very similar to what it was when I was in school, but it's also different in many ways as well. So all of you right now, you have an iPad at home that you are able to learn with, and I did not have that when I was in school. When I was at the junior high, we were actually provided with desktop computers in one classroom. So every quarter, we were able to have a technology class. And, well, actually 1/4 of the whole year. So it was only for a very small part of the year we were on computers, and for a little bit part of the day. So everything else was paper and pencil. So really different in terms of technology. We did not at all have video cameras like this. We never watched videos in class. We never watched movies. If we did, it was rolled in on a cart. So very different from what it is now. So since the schools were much smaller, we did not have as many activities that were available for us to join or sports to play. So when I moved here, my mom encouraged my brother and I to join as much as there was here in Manhattan. So I actually was on the volleyball team at the junior high. I did track for a little bit, so I did try to get involved, but there are a lot more things for us to join now than there was back then, just because we didn't have as many students who were interested in all of these sports. So I know now over at the junior high, they have baseball, they have softball, they have wrestling, they have different activities to do after school, like science club. So a lot of different things now than there were back then, which I wish there was more, because then I would have been involved in a lot and made some friends. Over the years, many things have changed in Manhattan. My school is no longer on a gravel road. We have a lot more businesses in town. We have a lot more people in town. Our schools are getting bigger. We have a lot more houses here in Manhattan, but one thing that has not changed is the amazing school district that Manhattan 114 is. We have awesome teachers here to support you. You have wonderful principals. Mrs. Maher at Wilson Creek, she actually used to teach here at Anna McDonald. We have Mr. McWilliams here at our school who used to be the principal for my brother. And then we have Dr. Pacheco over at the junior high who was my principal as well. So those are things that will not change and haven't changed. I really do hope that all of you take from these experiences here in our school district and you have some awesome stories to share with your family in the future. This is a crazy time that we are going through, so you will have a remarkable journey. I can assure you all of that.